You have multiple schools that you could apply to when you want to be a dentist here in the United States as an international trained dentist. Now, what do you need to do to be prepared to get into dental school so you could get accepted to that international dentist program for advanced standing student to be a dentist here in the United States to practice dentistry in a particular state? How do you decide on which dental school that you will be applying to, especially if you are an international dentist who wants to practice dentistry and be licensed here in the United States? How could you choose and where do you go to get this information? Now, in this video, we are going to go over how to apply to dental school, specifically in California. Now, Arnold Paulos, a practicing dentist here in California. We live in Northern California, the San Francisco Bay Area, and we have 7 dental schools here in the United States, and there are multiple dental schools in the United States. That is over 60 dental schools. Half of these dental schools actually have international program. Most of these dental schools actually have advanced standing program for internationally trained dentists so that they could go ahead and prepare themselves to practice dentistry here in the United States. Now, when we're talking about California, we are talking about 7 dental schools. 6 of these schools have an advanced standing program to train dentists, foreign dentists, so that they could go ahead and prepare themselves to take that board exam to get a license here in California. Now, in Northern California, we've got UCSF in San Francisco, University of California, San Francisco. You've got the University of the Pacific, which is also located in San Francisco. They both have an advanced standing program in Northern California. There's also North State. Now, this is the newest dental school here in the United States. This is the newest in California. In Southern California, we've got 4 dental schools. We've got UCLA, we've got USC, we've got Loma Linda University, and we've also got Western University. Now, how could you choose from all these universities? Today, we're going to concentrate on the Central Valley. We're going to concentrate on the Central Valley of Southern California. There are 2 dental schools that accepts internationally trained dentists who wants to go ahead and apply to these programs. Now, all this information is readily available. You could get these information on the internet. And then right now, I'll show you how easy this is. We're going to go into a smartphone to get all this information. We're talking about 2 dental schools in the United States, Loma Linda and Western University, both in the Central Valley. I would say within an hour and a half, 2 hours from the Los Angeles area. So when you're picking a university in California, one of the things that you want to find out for yourself is, are you going to apply close by to where you live? Or are you going to apply to school that is a little bit further away, especially if you're living in California? You've got 2 dental schools in Northern California, UCSF and UOP, who has a program for international dentists. In Southern California, you've got 4. You've got all these schools to choose from. And now we're going to go ahead and talk about the 2 in the Central Valley. Now, let's start with, let's say, for instance, we are going to go ahead and look at Loma Linda University, which is located in the city of Loma Linda. Most of these dental schools are accepting between 30, 35, 40 students. And so when you're looking at these schools, you are going to be applying and competing for these spots. Now, how do you strengthen your application? Now, there's also the University, Western University, which is located in Pomona. Pomona, Loma Linda, they are very close to each other. Now, how are you going to pick between these 2 schools? Now, when you're picking these schools and when you're looking these up on the internet, you're looking for the university's name, and then go ahead and make sure that you're typing in advanced standing program. But what you'll notice is that when you're looking for these two particular schools, Loma Linda and Western University, they are calling their program International Dentist Program. Both Western and Loma Linda calls their program International Dentist Program. Now, before you start applying to these schools, you've got to make sure that you are applying through the American Dental Education Association, that ADEA. And also there's a spot in that location, there's a spot in that site that is called the CAPID, which stands for Centralized Application for Advanced Placement for International Dentists. So what this does is that it gathers all the information that you've done so far, getting all the transcripts from your schools, from your university that you attended to, a credentialed university, so that they could go ahead and transfer those information to the centralized location. They'll be able to collect all this information and then forward them to the schools that you want to apply to. One of the things that you've got to make sure that you're doing is that you are not applying to too many schools here. There are many schools to apply to. You just want to pick a few that you know that you've got a chance to get into. Hundreds of students, hundreds of dentists, foreign dentists applies to these programs. So you've got to make sure that all your credentials are up to par to what these universities are accepting. You've got to make sure that your GPA is top notch. You got to make sure that your national board scores are in line with everybody who's applying to that program. One major important is the TOEFL score, which is trying to see how well you are in the English language and making sure that you are going to be able to communicate in English, because English is what the instructions are going to be in. They want to make sure that you're going to get all this information from the instruction when you get into the dental schools. Now, once you've gotten all this information, once you've gathered all this information and then be able to put them in the centralized ADEA CAPID, you've got to make sure that you are preparing yourself to strengthen your application so that when the time comes and you get invited to the secondary process, secondary interviews, you are prepared and you have strengthened your application. One of the things that's important to do while you're waiting and making sure that you get into these schools is strengthening your skills in the dentistry that we do here in the United States. You also want to make sure that you are tied in with a dental office or a mentor that is going to write you a letter of recommendation as to the progress that you've been making since you have started working with them as a volunteer or as a dental assistant working in the dental office. Now, one of the things that you got to look for here in the schools that we're talking about today, Loma Linda, very small size in terms of their class size. They also highlight this special information for you, a faith-based community. And then you've also got to make sure that you are adequately trained to be able to progress in their program, trained in the dentistry that we do here in the United States, so that when you get invited to that secondary application process, you are going to get interviewed. And a lot of these schools in the United States is going to have a bench test for you. So you want to be ready for that bench test. You want to be able to show your skills in the restorative, either in the direct restoration, amalgam composite type restoration, and also the indirect type of restoration, which is crown preparation. So those are the things that they're looking for. Now, if you look at the school, the Western University, they're going to tell you here, they are looking for certain students to accept in their dental schools. And one of the things that they are looking for is community involvement, and also making sure that you have prepared yourself to enter the dental school. So once again, what's important for you to apply when you're applying to these dental schools is how much have you prepared yourself in getting into the dental schools. Now, the preparation that you have to do when you are in this process of application, you've gotten your test scores, you've gotten your GPA completed and have applied through the ADEA CAPID. What you've got to do in this process is making sure that you are prepared. Everything you can do to strengthen this by working in a dental office, getting the skills, the procedures that are done in a dental office here in the United States, volunteering in the community, getting out in the community, and making sure that you are letting your mentor, your employer know what your goals are, so that when you ask them for a letter of recommendation, they know where have you been and where you would like to go, and your goals as a dentist here in the United States. So make sure that when you're preparing yourself to apply to dental schools, you are strengthening your application in the secondary process of getting your skills up to par with the restorative aspect of the bench test, and making sure that you are aware of the dentistry that's performed here in the United States, so that when you go ahead and go to your interview, you could put all that together, make sure that you highlight all the strength that you have of why they should accept you in the dental schools here in the United States. So make sure that you are watching our next videos, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.